Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're ARMY, get ready, because what we're about to talk about today isn't just some random update. This is history in the making. And honestly, it's the kind of story that makes you sit back and go, yep, that tracks. That's exactly who he is. So here's how this whole thing unfolded. Just recently, the K-pop world got hit with a piece of news that had fans everywhere doing a double take and immediately screenshotting it to send to their group chats. According to reports from the World Music Awards, which people often call the Billboard of Europe, because of how seriously it tracks global entertainment data, along with Popcore, an outlet known for updating detailed pop culture statistics and charts, Jungkook has officially become the first and only person in the entire history of TikTok to surpass 40 million posts under his own personal hashtag Jungkook. Yeah, you heard that correctly. 40 million. Let that sink in for a second, because we're not talking about views here, and we're not talking about likes either. We're talking about 40 million individual pieces of content, uploaded by real people scattered across literally every corner of the globe, all voluntarily choosing to tag their videos with his name. That is a number that no other artist on the entire planet has touched, on any platform, at any point in internet history. Not a brand, not a movement, not a meme format, one single human being. If part of you is thinking, okay cool, but it's just a number, I get it. Stick with me for a second, because once you actually understand the mechanics behind this, you start to realize just how massive this really is. Let's slow down and break it down properly. On TikTok, hashtags typically function as a way for people to group content around a shared theme, a trending sound, a challenge, or a movement. The really big hashtags, the ones that hit tens of millions of posts, are usually owned by huge global campaigns, major brands, or platform-wide trends, not by the name of one individual person. That's what makes hashtag Jungkook such an outlier. Nobody built this with a marketing department. Nobody paid influencers to push it. There was no coordinated campaign behind the scenes. It grew completely organically, powered entirely by millions of everyday users spread across different countries, different cultures, different languages, who all independently made the same decision on their own. To create a dance cover, film a reaction, edit a fan-made clip, post a fan cam, or simply share their thoughts, and tag it with his name. 40 million uploads translates to 40 million separate human decisions, made by 40 million different people. Or in many cases the same devoted fans posting over and over. And somehow they all converge on this one single point. And here's the part that honestly makes this even more insane. This record didn't happen in isolation. That very same hashtag had already blown past 300 billion views before this milestone even hit, which made it the first personal hashtag belonging to a solo artist anywhere in the world to reach that number. 300 billion views. That's a scale that's genuinely difficult for the human brain to process. So now put the two records side by side. The most posts ever recorded under a personal hashtag, and the most views ever recorded under a personal hashtag. When you stack those two achievements together, you start to understand exactly why people, including major international outlets, have started calling him the TikTok King, a nickname that is now sticking hard in headlines all over the world. What's genuinely wild though is how fast all of this happened, because this wasn't some slow burn, years in the making kind of growth. When Jungkook's personal TikTok account first went live and fans discovered it, the internet basically short-circuited. He crossed 1 million followers in about 2 hours and 36 minutes, which stands as the fastest anyone has ever hit that milestone on the entire platform. From there, he blew past 10 million followers in just about 3 weeks. And here's the kicker, he did all of this without flooding the app with content the way most creators do to stay relevant. We're talking about a shockingly small number of posts. Sometimes fewer than 30 videos total on his account, and yet several of those individual clips pulled in over 100 million views each, with some even crossing the 200 million mark on their own. One of the most iconic examples is a dance clip he posted set to Usher's Yeah, which quickly became one of the most watched videos on his entire account, partly because of the nostalgia factor and partly because, well, it's Jungkook dancing to a certified banger. There was also this really fun moment where he showed up in a video alongside fellow BTS members V and J-Hope, all three of them dancing together to Bunny Girl Hood Trap. That single clip racked up millions of views within just a few hours of going live, which tells you everything about the kind of instant, explosive reach we're dealing with here. What all of this really proves is that with Jungkook, it was never really about sheer quantity of content. it's about the depth of connection. Every single time he posts, no matter how simple, no matter how short, no matter how low effort it might look on the surface, the entire internet reacts almost instantly, like clockwork. And honestly, it doesn't stop at TikTok either. His reach stretches across nearly every major platform out there. On YouTube, he's been named the most searched male K-pop idol in both South Korea and the United States for multiple years running. And get this, that streak didn't even break during the period he was serving his mandatory military enlistment, when you'd expect public attention to naturally dip. On Google, he's held the title of most searched K-pop idol globally for 5 consecutive years straight, and during that same stretch, he also topped the charts as the most searched K-pop star on Tumblr, which, if you know that platform's fan-based culture, is no small feat either. Instagram has its own wild chapter in this story too. Back in 2023, Jungkook made this genuinely shocking decision to delete his old personal Instagram account, which at the time had over 52 million followers. Fans everywhere were stunned, honestly heartbroken for a bit. But when he eventually came back and opened a brand new account, it only took him a matter of days to rack up millions of fresh followers all over again. One of his posts on that new account, a dance challenge video called Hooligan, ended up becoming the 3rd most reposted post in the entire history of Instagram, sitting right behind only Lionel Messi and Taylor Swift. And here's the part that really puts it into perspective. Both of those two names have hundreds of millions of followers each. While Jungkook achieved this ranking with a follower count that's genuinely a fraction of theirs, that's not just popularity, that's raw engagement density that almost nobody else can match. So why does any of this actually matter beyond just being a cool headline? Let's talk about that for a second. First, this whole thing is proof of pure, unfiltered organic engagement. We're living in an era where a lot of social media numbers can be inflated, bought, boosted through ads, or manipulated in some way. But a number like 40 million individual posts simply cannot be faked or purchased. Every single one of those uploads represents a real individual person, somewhere out there in the world, choosing entirely on their own to create something inspired by him. Second, this cements Jungkook's status as something bigger than just being a member of BTS. He has fully become a standalone global pop culture phenomenon in his own right. Remember, TikTok has over 1 billion active users spanning nearly every country on the planet, cutting across wildly different cultures, languages, and internet habits, to dominate the hashtag on a platform that diverse, that fragmented, that global, takes a level of cross-cultural appeal that is genuinely, statistically rare. Third, and this part is honestly perfect timing, all of this is landing right in the middle of BTS's ongoing comeback momentum. Their new album, Ararang, has been putting up massive numbers of its own recently. The lead single, Swim, actually beat the first-day streaming record that was previously held by their own mega hit Dynamite, which is no small thing considering how huge that song was globally. Spotify even ran a whole campaign around this called the BTS Effect, reporting that the number of first-time listeners discovering BTS jumped by more than 690% since the album dropped. Their comeback concert called the Comeback Live Arirang, held in Gwangwon, pushed album streaming numbers up by another 120% right after the show wrapped, and even some of their older classic tracks saw huge streaming spikes off the back of that renewed attention. So this TikTok record isn't some random isolated headline that just happened to pop up out of nowhere. It's genuinely one piece of a much bigger wave that BTS as a whole is riding through the music industry right now. And Jungkook's individual milestone is just the loudest, most visible part of it. Naturally, the reaction from fans everywhere has been exactly what you'd expect. Pure chaos, in the best way possible. A lot of ARMY have been pointing to this as solid proof that years of consistency, quiet hard work, and genuine authenticity are finally paying off in a way that honestly nobody can argue with. Others have been highlighting how Jungkook never really seems to force anything when it comes to social media. He doesn't overproduce his content, he doesn't chase trends artificially, he just shows up as himself. And somehow that alone is enough to move the entire internet in his direction. What's even more interesting, if you zoom out a bit, is the ripple effect this record has created. Once the news started spreading, search interest around Jungkook spiked noticeably across other platforms too, which is honestly a classic signature of a true global-level star. One single milestone on one single platform ends up setting off a chain reaction everywhere else, almost instantly. And this story hasn't stayed contained within Korean entertainment media either, which is worth noting. International outlets from multiple countries have picked this story up and run with it, which really says a lot about how far his reach has grown. news anymore at this point. It's genuinely global entertainment news, sitting alongside stories about some of the biggest names in the world. So, naturally, the big question now is, what happens next? With the AI랑 comeback still very much in full swing, and Jungkook continuing to individually break record after record on top of that, a lot of industry watchers are predicting that the second half of this year is going to be extremely hard to slow down for BTS as a whole. His personal social media activity has also been noticeably picking up lately too. And given his track record so far, that means basically every single post he makes from here on out, no matter how casual, no matter how spontaneous, carries real potential to go viral within just a few hours of posting. So if you're ARMY, honestly, go ahead and brace yourselves, because it genuinely looks like this is just the beginning of even more records coming his way. That pretty much wraps up the story for today. Jungkook officially making TikTok history as the first person ever in the platform's entire existence to cross 40 million posts under his own personal hashtag, once again proving that his individual influence, and BTS's influence as a complete group, is nowhere close to slowing down anytime soon. So what do you think is the real secret behind Jungkook's global appeal? Is it the consistency? The authenticity? Or just pure star power that can't really be explained? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I genuinely want to hear what you all think. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel